coffee, so I don't know everyone. What my session was about was counseling, but that's my major in school, was substance abuse counseling. And it's one thing that's really on my heart is just to help other people. I believe that's really my purpose in life, is to help others. And that seems so cliche and so dumb, and like I got from a fortune cookie, but I didn't get from a fortune cookie, I promise. It's my purpose. But usually when people when I say I'm a counselor, I either get one or two reactions. One is people usually tense up and they kind of look at me really weird, and the other just hey, it's really awkward because people I work with, they're like, hey man, you want to go party? I'm like, nah, I don't want to go party. Why don't you want to go party? Why don't you want to go drink with us? Because I'm kind of opposite of you. I'm substance abuse counseling. He's like, okay. Go abusive substances. So that's usually how it goes. One of the reasons I picked my major was it wasn't because I had this dark past of substance abuse. I've been drunk seriously 3 or 4 times. That's it. And that was just when I was trying to be really dumb in the world. But like Paul said, I'm not going to dwell. Like Paul said too, in our weaknesses our strength. But I'm not going to show off my stupidity. There's no message in that. I had my year where I tried to be cool, and it ended up I was just really awkward and weird because I'm already awkward enough sober. Can you imagine me just 5 in my face drunk? I'm really, really weird then. This is bad. But that's really about it. When it comes to me and my own personal addiction, I had my year where I really just ran away from God, and I came back. So there's something worth coming back to. But when it comes to addiction in my life, even though I never served it, it was mastered over me because of my childhood. I was raised from a divorced family. My dad, I saw him on weekends, and whenever it comes to a divorced family, one parent, you're going to see one parent over the other. It's just that plain simple. Divorce is terrible. It's horrible. And my dad really wasn't around, so I had really no father figure. I had a grandpa that I looked up to, but he was kind of off in the corner and really sick. I had a mom that I absolutely loved, and to this day, she's awesome. She's the best woman I've ever. I'm gonna wait for Audrey to sit down because I know her and I can embarrass her. Okay, but I had a mom who, she knew there was a God. She was really good, tender. She's an awesome mom. She still is, but she didn't know about Jesus. So she really sought after a lot of the paranormal and the occult and stuff like that. And I kind of followed it and I kind of dabbled in it a little bit. When I was a kid, I was trying to see what was out there. What kind of God was out there. And I had a stepdad who was really abusive to both of us. And it was the point where he spent all of his money on his addiction, on his pot, on his beer. He would, if he got down to it, having dinner that night or buying a 24-pack of, whatever, he'd pick, buying a 24-pack and just get drunk that night and, forget about us. So it's that's how I was raised. So even though I never gave into an addiction really, even though I never really ruled my life, it still had an effect on me. Mm-hmm. And when I was deciding what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, going to college, at first I tried business, and I realized I'm not good at that because I'm not a good liar. And then the next, I tried nursing, and I realized I can't do that because I don't look good in the uniform. So the last thing was just counseling. I was I can do really well at that because, simply put, I'm not afraid of people's problems. It doesn't matter how deep or dark or terrifying your situation is. I might not have been there. I might not know what's going through your head, but I know a God who can penetrate that
That's
darkness.
Right. That's good.
And there's nothing you can do about that. If you let Him, He can change your life.
Amen.
I'm not afraid of anything that you've been through or anyone you're associated with. Actually, I kind of joke around. My friends all know I'm really big into superheroes. I always have been, and a lot of them call me Superman because I'm not afraid of anything. I swear to this day, it's not been practiced on bulletproof. I really hope no one practices on me today. But I'm just saying, I just think I am. But one thing with my life is when it comes to addiction, it's a viper hissing and spitting at God and anyone else who gets too close. When you're in that, even when you dabble into it a little bit, when you're under that substance, it becomes your God. It sits on the throne of your heart and it says, you don't have any control over it. You know, you can say this is just one beer. Oh, it's 10 now. It was just one night. That one night, it's going to repeat again. It's going to keep going and going. And there's a preacher in the South. His name's David Hogan. He's a really funny guy. He has this thing about, he says about alcohol. He's like, I always see all these Christians drinking all this alcohol. Whenever I confront about it, they say, well, Jesus drank wine. And I say, well, Jesus healed the sick, he cast the devils out, and he healed the blind. I'll see you guys doing that. You guys need a new role model. And he's mad. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you know, Jesus did drink wine, but he did a lot of other things too. You know? I mean, if you're going to do one thing, we're going to do the rest of it too. Just pick a better role model. It's really destructive. I mean, we all know that. We all know somebody, directly or indirectly, that is not only destroying their life, but destroying everyone else's life. Because when you give in to something as powerful as addiction, you're not just bringing yourself down, you're bringing down like your whole family and the people around you in the community. So it's a community thing.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't share in my session that I should have is, you guys probably know this is Lucasville, not far from here is the Lucasville Bottoms. You know, I've only been out here twice. This is my second time, obviously. But from Ross County on down to Portsmouth is a huge pill mill.
Yeah.
There's enough pills in this area, just from Ross County down here alone, for every household to have 120 pills in their house. And obviously, not every household has those. It's a huge drug highway. And right now, at this moment, if you looked at our map of America and Europe, like just of it, and they said Southern Ohio, it wouldn't be known for anything else besides it's a pill mill. That's one of the biggest things on FBI, and that makes me sad. Because this is where I grew up, this is my community. This is where I was born and raised, this is where I cut my teeth. And for something like addiction, something evil like that to define my neighborhood, I can't let that happen. I can't just sit by and let destroy people's lives, something so selfish, when I know something that can heal every single one of them. When I hold inside of me, inside my heart, it's not in the words, but it's inside my heart, the hope of glory that can change your life. I need to do something about that, We can point at the world and say, there's this wrong with the world, there's that, there's addiction, there's poverty, there's injustice. When it boils down to it, we're Christians, we're God's people. We can't look at the world and say, why are you being so dark? Why are you sinning? Why are you doing your job? You're called to sin and you're sinning. We gotta look at ourselves and be like, why aren't you doing your job?
Yeah.
Why aren't you shining your light? Why aren't you being an influence on those people? Why are you letting them die? Why are you letting my people die? Also, when I was going to college, I studied in college. When I started college, I went to a burn meeting. It's like a prayer and worship thing. And it was a 24-hour one. And I was determined by the end of that night, I was like, God, I want you to give me something for the rest of my life. I want you to tell me what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Because I'm about to spend a lot of money on my education, and I don't have time just to waste my time. What do you want me to do? And somewhere around like 2 or 3 in the morning that night, while I was listening to worship and just worshiping God, I had a vision of a river, and it looked like the side of a river, and I was on the bank of it, and it was just rapids and everything just rushing through it. And the closer I looked at the river, I saw people in the river, and the people were just below the surface, and they were just going along with it, just going along, and they looked like they were dead. And I started to freak out in the vision, and I started pulling people out of the river, and they were staying with me on the banks, and before I knew it, there's a lot of people behind me, and God said, that's what your heart looks like. Your heart is setting my people free, getting them out of that river, and putting them on the bank, putting them to safety, and I love that, that's my purpose, that's my heart, my Creator gave that to me. I want to do that for the rest of my life, that's what I'm created for, that's why I'm here. And, it has nothing to do with addiction, really. I encourage everyone, God has something for you. God has something to tell you directly to your heart. As weird as that sounds, I had a vision from God and I saw this. But it's what He wants for your life, He has a vision for every single one of you, something that you're supposed to do. And He knows what your heart looks like. He knows the character that you hold. And the only way to get that is if you draw into His Word. One of my favorite preachers, a revivalist named Raymond Hill, he had a quote saying, hours with God, minutes with man. The more time you spend with God, in His Word, in His presence, just with His people, the more you can influence people outside of His Word. And the people need that. The world deserves that. The world deserves a better class of Christians that just live through God's Word and really just live it out and walk it out. The kind of people that when you see them walk in, the character just, you can tell there's something different about that guy.
Yeah.
There's something different about that person. There's something attractive to him, and it's not because he looked good today or his hair looks good.
Mm-hmm.
It's because he carries something with him.
Yeah.
And the